Hello there, it's Tania Gabrielle with Astro-Numerologist. Welcome to Star Codes, the podcast where we look at an upcoming event in the stars and numbers, the astrology and numerology. In this case, the Scorpio full moon happening on May 12th. This is such a big moment because the ruling planet of Scorpio, Pluto, is stationing retrograde right before this full moon strikes, and that retrograde happens on May 4th. I'm actually recording this on May 2nd, and it is vital because, as you know, Pluto recently moved permanently into Aquarius for 20 years until 2044. That was back in November while the sun was in Scorpio. Pluto moved into Aquarius. So this will be the first retrograde that Pluto enters into since moving into Aquarius. And it happens very close to 4 degrees of Aquarius. It's actually very late, 3 degrees on May 4th. And so this Scorpio full moon will be especially potent because when a planet is at a standstill, and this is the ruling planet of the full moon, it has a bigger impact. And Scorpio is intense to begin with, and Pluto, of course, dives into the truth and the unseen and unveils those things that we may not have noticed or wanted to see. And so there'll be some revelations. And so when Pluto's stationing retrograde right before this full moon, it makes me feel that financial flow, wealth, abundance, prosperity, banking will be coming back into the picture, at least throughout May. So let's look at when this full moon actually takes place. It's May 12th at 5:56 p.m. Universal Time. That's in Greenwich, London, England, and 12:56 p.m. Eastern Time, New York, and 9:56 a.m. Pacific Time, LA. And of course, you don't need to be a Scorpio or a Taurus where the sun is to benefit from this forecast. This forecast really impacts everyone because you have Scorpio and Taurus somewhere in your astrology birth chart. So the sun and moon, which are opposite, are going to impact you in some capacity in 2 of your houses. That you have 12 houses, and so hey, it's everybody will feel this one. And in this case, we have a fixed sign, a water sign. Scorpio is very deeply connected to intuition. Water signs are very intuitive. They feel, they're very sensitive, very psychic, and Scorpio purges. So Scorpio uses that water element to eliminate anything that's gotten old. Scorpio really wants to go in there. Scorpio and Pluto want to expose anything that's been hidden, that's been suppressed, that might have been swept under the carpet. So this is a moment for all of us to let go, to have the inner strength to do so. Pluto is connected to power and empowerment or disempowerment on the shadow side. But this power, this transmutation is so empowering because it helps us be very resolved and determined to move into areas that truly are meaningful. Because as we uncover what was unseen, these secrets, we're finding some incredible jewels. And we're facing our fears. We're going beyond the fear of death. The 8th house in Scorpio govern death. So it is to be fearless about that we all die at some point, and to live your life to the fullest. So Pluto, in a sense, also represents in Scorpio the phoenix rising from the ashes, because there's this birth, death, rebirth element. And the fixed signs, which are Scorpio, Aquarius, Taurus, and Leo, they are able to stay the course. They can stay fixed on something and move through it and not give up, or in a sense have the fortitude to go get through those challenges, those obstacles. Now, fixed signs on the shadow side can be so fixed that they are not flexible. So there's always a positive and shadow side to everything. So in a water sign like Scorpio, the fixed element is a little bit more flexible in some respects because water is a moving element, right? It's not like Earth. Like Taurus is an Earth sign and a fixed sign, and Taurus is more securely rooted in its own ideas and beliefs, and so there can be this stubbornness, as you probably realize, with the Taurian element. With Scorpio, there is that fluidness, but it's also, if you don't want to see the truth, there can be a lot of manipulation, avoidance, and hiding things, right? Making things secret. So it's a complex sign in many respects. Now, during this full moon, the sun is conjunct Uranus and the moon is opposite Uranus. Uranus is in Taurus where the sun is. Uranus is at 26 degrees. The sun and moon are at 22 degrees. But why is this so important? Because Uranus rules Aquarius, and the ruler of the full moon is Pluto, and Pluto recently moved into Aquarius for 20 years. So this really makes it a very Uranian, Aquarian themed full moon. And Aquarius is also a fixed sign. And so there's going to be an excitability here. There's going to be maybe even impulsive actions or instant reactions that propel you forward, because Aquarius is all about the future. It wants you to embrace the new. It's an air sign. It moves fast. And so between the Scorpio element and the Aquarian element, Uranus and Pluto, there are a lot of strong instincts and intuitive downloads that you're going to have that are going to take you to a new place that you haven't been before. And it's going to be very quick, the movement. So rely on your intuition to gauge the emotional shifts that are coming up. Uranus in Taurus shakes up our values. It shakes up our way of looking at financial flow and looking at the foods we eat, right? So you want to be very open and flexible to receive anything new that comes your way. And keep in mind that because Pluto is in another fixed sign, and this full moon is in Scorpio with the moon and in Taurus with the sun, we do have some tension here with the ruler, because that means that Pluto is in a sign that is square to both Scorpio, its own sign, and Taurus, the sign that Uranus is in. Uranus is the ruler of the sign Aquarius is in. Okay, so there's a lot of interchange energy here. And so it will also awaken those who are born in the 60s, 1960s, who have that Pluto-Uranus square in your home, your birth chart. So because Pluto and Uranus are so activated during this full moon, there could be like a sense of collective understanding or awakening for you, for if you're born during that period, because almost throughout the whole 1960s, those two planets were conjunct each other in Virgo. So anybody born in most of the 1960s would have that conjunction of these two planets. Now Uranus conjunct the sun, which is opposite the moon in Scorpio, Uranus conjunct the sun really adds a lot of excitement. So you want to expect the unexpected. You will feel relatively grounded because Taurus is a very secure earth sign. So there is a lot of calmness, but you will also have the urge to break away from any restrictive situations or relationships. You know, you definitely have a sense of the unconventional now and seeing beyond where you've seen before. So breaking open new ground, opening your heart to welcoming new opportunities that are really thrilling or out of the box, something that you wouldn't have thought you would maybe partake in before now. So it's an extremely powerful shift energy here, since Uranus represents anything that is connected to electricity, the nervous system, volatility, even revolution. So if you experience any instability or new energy, it is because something is coming into your life that's bringing balance. You know, the full moon is about the two luminaries, sun and moon, opposite each other. And any opposition in astrology is needing a sense of balance to be restored. So that's why during full moons, our emotions are heightened as we assimilate the whole lunation cycle from the previous full moon, and that would have been the Libra full moon in April, and just bring that energy into balance. And that happens once a month. So be sure to take time out for grounding your energy, for being in a meditative state, getting enough rest, and immersing yourself in calmness and serenity. Now, there is another very, very important aspect that we must look at, and that is Mercury is exactly square to Pluto. And so they're both at 3 degrees. And boy, this is major, because Mercury is about how we think. And that means that interactions with others, because Mercury governs communication with others, they can be extremely intense. So guard against expressing yourself in overpowering ways. This is a square between these two planets. The square does bring tension. Something is asking you to look at that topic or that person in a new way, and to explore every ounce of new ideas, every side of the matter, every perspective that you didn't consider. Dig deeply and discover what it is you need to understand. You're given a really good opportunity now to uncover something that really was a mystery before, and to dive into it, to open-heartedly investigate it, and look at underlying root causes too of maybe issues in your own personal life or professional life that you want to resolve or solve. So getting a reading at this time is very, very helpful, and being very, very flexible, keeping your mind so open. So the ultimate open-mindedness needs to be happening for you right now. And at the same time, you want to refrain from entering into any conflict, any arguing, where you're trying to prove you're right. And if you do that, you will make really empowering discoveries. Remember, Pluto is the planet of empowerment and transformation. And Pluto is our guidance system to really the ultimate destination, which is where we are in complete synchronicity with the divine, so that we feel completely empowered to walk the path of the mystic, of the empath. And Pluto is incredibly intuitive. So when you are free from feeling I have to be in control, you gain control. When you surrender, you become successful. So it's a paradox with Pluto. Pluto's extremely deep. And Scorpio, the sign of the full moon, which Pluto rules, is very intense, and it transforms. It uncovers the truth. Scorpio observes everything, and Scorpio intuits, and Scorpio hides. The shadow side is secrets and power struggles and control issues. So don't allow yourself to be intimidated, controlled, manipulated. Those are the shadow sides of Pluto and Scorpio. And embrace change and restoration. And then know too that under Scorpio's influence, it's much easier to forgive and forget, because you're purging. So it's a fantastic time for growth. And when things get difficult, it's because you're having a growth spurt. You're growing immensely. So see it that way. Have a new perspective that this growth spurt is important. And it's actually helped in this case with the full moon. Saturn plays a role. Saturn is trine to the moon. The moon, by the way, rules Cancer and other water signs. So the moon in Scorpio does feel comfortable. And so with a trine from Saturn, you are taking those feelings seriously, those water sign feelings. And you're taking full responsibility for your overall spiritual, mental, physical, emotional well-being. And you are more self-controlled with Saturn trine the moon. You can settle important matters really well. Moon trine Saturn is also wonderful for doing a project on your own, to be in seclusion, and also for negotiations. It's very confidence building to have these two come together in this way. Now the date, 5/12/2025, adds up to 17, and that ties into Scorpio and Pluto because 17 is the immortality number. It is so strong, it reduces to 8, which is the infinity number. 17 governs eternity, leaving a legacy behind, being the leader, and Pluto is the ultimate leadership planet. And also May 12th is a Monday, and Monday is named after the moon. So it helps with that intuitive, divine feminine flowing energy. So we have an incredible opportunity. We have an incredible opportunity to take control of what we are thinking about and taking back our power, becoming empowered. But to really help you with this Pluto moment and Scorpio moment, I have a wonderful new free masterclass that you can watch at shiftfortheages.com. It's all about Pluto and Aquarius, and it's about the big astrology shift of the ages that's happening right now. Pluto was the first of the slow-moving outer planets to move into a new sign. Now we have Neptune having just moved into Aries. Next up is Saturn at the end of May, moving into Aries as well to join Neptune. After that, it's literally a few days later, Jupiter moving into Cancer, the sign it's exalted in. So exciting. And then early July, we have Uranus moving into Gemini. This is an incredible, pivotal moment in the history of humankind. I can't find any other time in history where all outer planets within a few months have all moved, all changed signs. They have very, very long orbits. When you think about Pluto's orbit is 248 years, and then we have Neptune at around 156 years or so, and then we have Saturn, and Uranus is 84 years, Saturn 29 to 30, and then Jupiter 12 years. So when they all come to the 0 point of a new sign at the same time, meaning within a few months of each other, that's extraordinary. You think of all those cycles around the sun. So I have this new masterclass for you about Pluto moving into Aquarius and how Pluto and Aquarius will impact your life and how to use that stunning moment to set yourself free. We're going to look at 11 previous Pluto and Aquarius periods in history, which is always how we can learn how this period now will impact us. So it gives us a really fantastic perspective. We also look at an ancient Hellenistic forecasting technique that unlocks the future and how it impacts our current Pluto and Aquarius 20-year period. And then finally, we also look at the most recent period when Pluto was in Aquarius, the last time before now, which was 1777 to 1798, and what that tells us about likely outcomes now until 2044. And there's more as well. And so you can get free access at shiftfortheages.com. Enjoy that free masterclass. Have an incredible Scorpio full moon. Lots of love. And I will see you in next week's Star Codes podcast.